Hello, I'm Luke Darcy. Welcome to the 2013 wash-up for the Fremantle Dockers. Damo Ross Lyon's team couldn't quite win the big one this year, but it appears as though the Freo squad is on the way to another grand final and maybe their first ever premiership.
Yeah, I'd say that's the case, Das. I mean, the base with which he's got to work with, Ross Lyon, is there, isn't it? But he'll tinker with that base, and I think on the back of kicking another lowly score in his fourth grand final, Ross Lyon, once he tinkers with the game style, combined with the tinkering of the list, I can see them back in the grand final again next year.
Season highlight for me, Damo, was the qualifying final down at Simonds Stadium, where a lot of people thought that they were not going to be able to compete with this great Geelong team on their home ground, in their own backyard. And it was just an incredible game, incredible coaching performance, and the players deserve great credit for it. And it set up this opportunity to play in a grand final, and I thought they were absolutely amazing on this day and had a remarkable year.
Yeah, for the second year in a row, knocked out Geelong. Didn't knock them out on this occasion, but beat Geelong in the first week of finals. And I think that actual win sort of made them stand up and make everyone notice that they were a real threat. That's my highlight for the year was Michael Walters, and there were many highlights you could have chosen from, but I just love the way this guy came through. We've been hearing about it for so long, and we knew he had troubles off the field to the point where he spent some time away from the club some time ago, but he was good throughout the year, and he was good in the grand final too, Das, when they came back in the third quarter. Took a really good mark, a mark similar to what we're seeing here on the screens, and he's got a trick bag, but he's prepared to work for it too, isn't he, Das? He does it both, doesn't he? He can fly in the air, he can kick goals like that, and he's still prepared to tackle hard in that forward 50.
Kicked close to 50 goals on the season's end for a small forward who takes marks, crumbs, and does all the things you said, Damo. I think he's just an absolute ripper, Michael Walters, and well handled. Ross Lyon's got him going beautifully. Season lowlight for me, Damo, was a really tragic story of a young man by the name of Jaden Pitt, only 20 years of age, and was diagnosed with an irregular heartbeat. He was an All-Australian under 18 only a couple of years ago, played in the first game about 12 months ago, so we'll probably not play football again, we understand. So a really sad story, highly regarded, talented young man who's got some health issues that'll probably keep him out of footy.
Yeah, me, and I've gone for Ryan Crowley in this particular category, Das, only because to me, he cops a lot of, I think, unfair attention from other people. This is almost the infamous game against North Melbourne, where Brent Harvey alleged he just pinched him all game, and it actually reached the tribunal, and there was a fine situation. Look, Brent was very worked up over it, and Brent Harvey's not one to get worked up. We know what his history with the Geelong players, and particularly Steve Johnson, but I think he's just doing what people have been doing for 100 years. When you play that style of footy, you get inside the heads of the best players on the opposition team, and there's no one who's done it better in 2013, does.
Yeah, he just does it incredibly well. Did it incredibly well in the grand final. Kept Sam Mitchell to 13 possessions. He's the sort of player you would love to play with, but if you're playing against him, you would want to just do everything you could to try and take him off his game. Christmas bonus time, Damo, and for me, a young man by the name of Nathan Fife deserves every amount that he earns for the Dockers. He's a star. I thought his grand final was exceptional. We know the misses at goal will haunt him for the whole summer, but you still got to find the footy like he does. Do it in the air. He's brave and courageous at the same time, and he just adds that silk to the real hard-working working class style that Ross Lyon wants to bring, and I love the way he plays.
Is there a James Hird style to what he's done in 2013, does?
Yeah, good comparison, and not an unfair thing for him at a young age. He's got all the Rolls Royce of a James Hird, and if he continues his upward improvement, he's on the path to being in that sort of quality, which is saying something.
Well, you beat me to the punch in choosing him, but I've gone for Chris May, and again, had a disappointing grand final, but look, he helped get them there, and he's an unassuming player. He's got a bit of a little bit of a trick bag. He can do the stuff, but he's actually rather do this. He'd rather run down players from behind. And we know he picked up 12 tackles in the preliminary final win, and we know that Ross Lyon felt he was almost their best player in that particular game. And for a forward to get 12 tackles, no goals, and be almost their best player, that says a bit about the guy. That's what he's prepared to do, and he's very important. I think he'll be aided should they go and get a key forward to play alongside him and Pavlich next year, but he's a good player, Das, and he showed it this year.
Yep, played that role absolutely perfectly. It's chopping block time, Damo, where we have a look at what maybe didn't go right for the Dockers. And my suggestion to any journalist who wants to take Ross Lyon on at a press conference, just remember one name, that's Shane McGuinness.
Ross, we saw a number of players go down off the ball. Was there a message before the game that you wanted your players to be physical at all times? Or was that...
Well, I'm not sure what you're alluding to. Are you talking about Dockers players or Geelong players?
Geelong players. We saw a few Geelong
Well, I think you're out of line, because what I saw some Dockers players go down off the ball.
I'm sure there were as well. But did you have a message to your players in particular?
What do you think?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the coach.
Well, I just think it's a silly question. We play within the rules. What's your name?
Mine?
Yeah.
Shane.
Shane who?
McGuinness.
Okay, that's the best question you can come up with after 2 hours of footy. You're quite brilliant, Shane. Yeah, terrific. To elude was one team. I can't let it go because it's incredibly disappointing. And I'm not sure what you're alluding to. So I think you've got to look at what you stand for as a journalist, to be frank. Shane?
You're quite brilliant, Shane. It just made me laugh a lot, Dame. You ever been on the receiving end of a Ross Lyon bake?
Yeah, I have. I copped a very late night phone call a couple of years ago when he was still at St Kilda, and it takes a fair bit of nerve to hold your ground with Ross Lyon Dust. But I thought Shane was really good then.
Were you out of line?
Himself. He thought I was, but I didn't think I was, and I told him that, and now we get on pretty well. Hey, my chopping block, Alex Silvani does. He was an emergency for the grand final, and even warmed up, but just couldn't get in, could he? With the way the backline is set up, and while he's got a fresh one-year deal, I think it's going to be very similar to 2014 for him as it was in 2013, just replacing players who are injured.
Yeah, let's look at where they can improve in 2014, Damo. And the key forward area is something I know you've been speaking about a lot. They had a big crack at Jack Revolt. They've had a look at Buddy Franklin. They tried hard to get Travis Cloke last year. They're aggressively hunting a player. Scott Gumwood might be someone a bit down the pecking order from those big names, but Western Australian boy, does he return home?
Yep.
They try and find a way for Tom Boyd, the key position player, the number one pick. But that's something they are desperately trying to find, a key forward.
Yeah, they won't die wondering, but the talent pool has dwindled, hasn't it, since they had a crack at all those names you just mentioned. To me, it's just the injury curse that they had throughout the year and dealt with really, really well. You see those names there, and they were out for significant patches of the season, yet Ross Lyon was able to manage the list and actually get them right when it came the time to get serious. But I reckon if they don't, or if they're not subjected to that type of injury hit next year, they'll actually have the home prelim final, and they won't have to go to Simmons Stadium to get through to the prelim final on the week's break.
There's a name there, Anthony Morabito's had a couple of knee reconstructions. There's a Jet who haven't had any action from it. So look to next year, Damo. Where do you see the Dockers finishing?
I've got them going up, Das, but when you lose a grand final, there's only one thing you can do when you say up. And I just think as we sit here 2 days after the grand final's been played in 2013, that they are the team for 2014. I know a lot can happen there, Das, but I reckon they go up.
Yeah, I've got them up as well, Damo. I think they'll finish inside the top 2 in the home and away season, which is a rise. I love what Ross Lyon brings to the table. They'll make some slight adjustments, but they're in great shape. Thank you, Damo. That's the 2013 wash-up for the Fremantle Dockers.